don't know what that part's for.
This is cool.
Go through.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting on you, Margo. I've gone through something like this before. Here we go. Oh, oopsie. That's my knee.
Is this a hat?
No, this is.
I could sleep here. Hi, Dad. You can sit down.
I keep on getting a phone call I need to deal with.
You can answer it.
Oh no, I'm trying to tell them. I'll get to them whenever I get to them, but they're being
Stubborn.
yeah.
Stubborn like Lafayette sometimes.
What are those, like, red and green things right there? These two.
I know they help control the engines, but I don't know if they specifically do since they're in Turkish. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's why I couldn't read them. Yeah, I have my own YouTube channel. I'll be posting this to it.
Wait. There is more red and green stuff. See, there's a button surrounded by red.
Yeah, it is.
Exit.
This is the after engine room. There's 2 out of the 4 diesel engines in here that would have been on board. They're by Fairbanks S'mores. That company is well known for train engines, so that's kind of what these are. They're just operated a little differently in the submarine. They would have carried 118,000 gallons of fuel with them for each patrol, which was 3 to 4 months. If they had to refill the tanks, they would stop at an Allied port. With the engines on and running, it would get up to 115 to 120 degrees in here. But with them off, the average temperature would still be about 100 because of the water distillers in the kitchen as well. But they only used the engines above water to charge the batteries. Whenever they were underwater, they only ran off the batteries. So it was a little bit cooler down there, it was quieter, and they also didn't have to worry about the exhaust underwater. Now the batteries could last about 72 hours without being charged, but they would typically have to surface every night so they could recharge the batteries and also replenish the air. They didn't have any oxygen tanks on board, so the only way they could get fresh air is if they opened all the hatches. And they typically did that every night just so they could stay prepared. Any questions or anything?
What is that red wrench up there for?
This,
It's to work on the engine.
Yeah.
I assume it's in case something needs to be, like, tightened down. I'm assuming for that.
or
It can tighten
something.
down.
Children don't brush their teeth. They can always hit them.
I doubt there would be children on a submarine during war times.
Are there any other questions or anything? Okay, you can follow me this way.
This is one of the fours, Liam. Did you hear her? You wouldn't, I know you're bad about listening.
They probably just have to right there. Hi, Dad. What is it next to me calling?
Not really. I feel like I'm bang my head on this thing. Probably bang my head on this.
It's a secret.
So this is the forward engine room. Another 2 engines would have been in here, but they discovered through testing that they only needed 3. So they cut a hole in the side of the submarine, lifted the engine out with a crane, and put it in a boat that actually needed it. They replaced it with the 400 cycle generator that the piston is sitting on back there. The generator helped create more power so they could update the sonar equipment. And they also added more storage up here. Engine number 1, which is that engine over there, is the only engine that we have that actually runs. We run it every now and then for maintenance purposes and for special events. Behind me are the 2 water distillers that they use to create fresh water on board. They created about 2,000 gallons of fresh water each day. But most of the water was used to cool the engines, so they only had about 500 gallons left for hydrating, cooking, and hygiene. Hygiene was at the bottom of the list, so they were only able to shower maybe 3 or 4 times during the patrol. Yeah, which was 3 to 4 months.
So where would the salt go?
So they would, after they distilled it, it would just go back into the ocean.
Hmm.
But are there any other questions or anything?
Why are there a lot of clocks?
Oh, the gauges. It's so they can monitor how hot it got, the fuel pressed, or how much oil was in there, things like that.
And why does it say?
Well, small.
Why do they always have a fire extinguisher?
Just in case something catches on fire.
Just in case of a fire. They
Uh,
could still have fire underwater, like an electrical fire or something like that. Any other questions? Okay. When we go into the next compartment, the shower is going to be on your left. You are welcome to go in there and look around.
okay. Well, I wonder. This is everyday stuff. Just going.
Oh, no toilet. And there's more sinks.
Ooh. Oh, beds. Sleepy. Anyone who's
These are tiny.
welcome to take a nap there.
Beds are tiny.
Is this where they dine?
Oh, there's the food court. That's where they hold the food.
What's on the menu?
Green beans.
Lots of canned goods. Not much fresh.
Assume that's where the hot stuff got made in there.
I don't have meal.
Yeah, just
And you didn't get much time to eat. It was hurry up, eat, because there's not that much space for all 100 people in the.
But how come they work on cars?
So
There's a shower and 2 more toilets for the enlisted men in there. There are also about 35 more beds for them as well. Underneath that compartment are half of the batteries. The other half are located underneath the officers' quarters. In here is the crew's mess. It's where all the enlisted men ate their meals. They also spent their recreational time in here. They could let down that gray panel, put one of those rails that they used to have back then on it, and then hang up a sheet up here to watch the movie. They also had game boards and laid in the tables, so if you want to lift up the coverings, you'll see that they had backgammon and also chess and checkers.
Oh, chess.
Oh, cool.
Chess.
Yeah.
Can I see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have backgammon.
This is, I'm pretty sure it's Japanese. Oh. I thought it was Chinese.
I don't play chess.
I don't think
We
they
have
have
chess.
Yeah, we don't have the pieces anymore. Sorry. But underneath that grate right there is the refrigerator and the freezer. That's where they kept all the produce and all the perishables. Underneath this hatch that we're going to walk over in a minute, that's where they kept the canned goods, the dry foods, and things like that. They would also store the food anywhere they could, and since the showers weren't in use much, they would put food in there. And they would even line up canned goods on this entire floor and just put wood on it so they can walk on top of it. Alright. Any questions?
Did they sometimes turn the water on with food in there on accident?
In the sink?
No, in the shower.
Oh, I mean, it was in cans, so if it did get turned on, it wouldn't mess up the food. But they barely use the shower, so
unlikely.
yeah. Any other questions?
What is the Hogan's Alley thing?
That's just what they call the area with more beds. I don't know the specific reasoning behind the
What's
name
the
of it.
danger plate? Where's the danger plate at the start of their ford? The danger plate. Is
Well,
that-
there's something dangerous.
Don't
there,
go back there. That's what it means.
Yeah. Any other questions? You can follow me this way.
Yay, another tiny door that I can fit in perfectly.
Ooh, it's a lot warmer in here than the rest.
It's a gyro compass. One of the drill tickets.
What? Cool.
And then there's another one right here.
Where I can see it. Oh, I see. Oh, another seat.
there?
No, I mean I can open it, but it's not really much.
Look down there.
I think we were just right here.
No, we are.
This is where we're gonna come out at.
Oh,
We're probably around like right here, maybe.
Yes, we're underneath here, and we started back there.
so you could close this. It looks like it could slide closed. Looks like it was meant to slide closed right.
This was after the first upgrade, so when it still had the step sail. And yeah, I think they could. No, it's just broken. But yeah, now it's just one big. It's not a step sail. But this is the control room. It's the central hub of the submarine. It's also the only section that has 3 levels instead of 2. There's a room above us called the conning tower. That's where the periscopes are. They look like this.
Can we
Can
go
we
over?
go up there?
Sorry.
Can I poke my head up there?
Yeah.
Good luck.
I'll also put my head up there too.
Me.
Better ask.
Can I put my head up there too?
There it is.
Can I?
No, Margot. Margot, you are not good enough at climbing
This
ladder.
is where they control the dive planes to make the submarine go up and down with those 2 big red steering wheels over there. All of these levers over here control the ballast tanks that fill up with water so they can submerge the submarine. And then all the brass stuff over there is where they control the surfacing. They fill the ballast tanks up with pressurized air so they can push the water out and resurface.
How do you see where you're steering?
So they
Sonar.
use the sonar equipment, which was underneath us, and then they also use the periscope if they were at periscope depth.
What? Here we go. Here we go underneath.
Yeah, I got it.
But are there any other questions or anything?
No.
Call me whenever you're ready.
Do some 8Ks. Mock 8Ks.
I call him. Right here. There's a chair. What is this one for?
I could not.
So they
Is it
fill the
crayons?
officers'
Yeah, I
dishes
could not
in
be in
here.
the silencer. That's just not built for this environment.
Yeah. Your size would not be suited
That's
for
where mail
most of the, how small
No, this is
everything
where they
is.
had an emergency flashlight.
Just to keep power goes out.
So this is the officers' quarters. It's where all the officers stayed. They all had their own dedicated beds, unlike the enlisted men who slept in shifts. They also had their own eating area called the ward room. It was over here. They also spent their recreational time and had meetings in there as well. They also used it as the medical ward, so if there was a medical emergency on board, they would take them in there, operate on them, and then eat on the same table a few hours later. The worst thing that's ever happened in here was the pulling of a rotten tooth, so nothing too bad. No one has ever died or anything like that.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's the exit.
But are there any other questions or anything?
What were these books for? Just reading?
Yeah.
Now can't we sit in that room?
I mean, it's not really. We would only be sitting for like 10 seconds.
On a tour.
Yeah. But once you go through this next compartment, there's going to be a second step on the other side, so be careful when you step through.
Now look.
I can get in.
Good job.
Watch your step.
There's 2.
Just have a shower. Oh, oopsie.
There's a bed.
Yep.
Is this how we're going up?
Yeah, you sure your bunk with need to be clean.
Oh.
Hey, Margo, pay attention to where you're like falling over, because if you fall too far that way, that could hurt.
Yeah, that me and him about to get you back out.
So this is the forward torpedo room. It's pretty similar to the room we started in, except there would have been more torpedoes in here and less beds. There would have been 16 torpedoes, 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom, 2 below deck that you can't see right now, and then 6 loaded in the torpedo tubes in the front. It looks like 4, but if you look down there, you can see the other 2. There's also 10 more beds in here for the enlisted men, rounding out the 70 beds in total. There's another shower and another toilet in here as well. But other than that, this is pretty much all I have for you. Are there any final questions?
How did the torpedoes get shot?
So they shot them out with pressurized air. Any other questions?
How did they unfold the beds?
They would slide these out.
Oh.
Yep. Any other questions?
Where did they name the torpedo?
What was that?
Where's the torpedo in there?
We didn't put a torpedo so you can see how far down the tube goes.
That's far.
Yeah.
It looks like it can fit like 2 of these.
No, I think it can only fit one. Any other questions? Okay. So unfortunately this is the end of the tour. This will be the way out. We do have